Let's go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, our Nintendo podcast where we talk about all things Nintendo. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and this is episode 22. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Bryce DeWitt.
You put a spin on it today.
I did put a spin on it. You know, actually describe what the podcast is. That's probably a good thing. I mean, there is writing, but it's always nice having the audio there.
Yeah.
So Bryce, we're at the end of the year.
We are.
Yes.
The end of the year. It's the end of 2017.
I just had to have that confirmation from you that we're at the end of the year.
Okay, yeah, I knew you weren't too sure.
No, I wasn't too sure.
Yeah.
So we've got a bit to talk about. We've got the results from the Game Awards, some announcements from Nintendo, and
Breath of the Wild DLC.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild DLC. We had something. Oh yeah, Switch sales. We'll get into that later though. Bryce, the Game Awards.
Oh yes.
Yes.
What an experience.
Yes, Breath of the Wild taking Game of the Year for 2017.
Yeah, it ran away with 3 awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the other 2 were? I can't actually remember now.
Best action game and the other one.
Best game direction, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So congratulations to Breath of the Wild. I was putting my vote in for that game every day on Google. So I'm happy to see that win.
Yep. Absolutely. It absolutely deserves it. It's... You know, it only came out at the start of this year, but it's easily been the strongest contender. You know, ever since then. And it came out in the midst of like 2 other games that were incredibly hyped for, which was Horizon and Nier.
Yeah, and Persona.
And Persona as well.
PUBG,
yeah.
which took the...
Oh yeah, PUBG didn't take the spotlight till a little bit later on in the year, but yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's like... We'll go into the DLC a bit later. You're finished it. I've played a little bit of it.
Yep.
But even going back to it, you're like, yes, this game is phenomenal. Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what you're doing in Zelda. You always find something you want to do, in my opinion. It's hard... I mean, you can get bored of Zelda, pretty obviously. You can get bored with Zelda like you do any other game.
Yeah.
But there's always... You know, you've always got a multitude of options, you know... Even after you finish the game, they might not be as impactful as you did, you know, when you were doing the main quest or whatever. But yeah, it was fun to go back while DLC was active, and you know, I still jump on every now and then.
It was nice too having the DLC like announced right at the Game Awards and being available that night. It wasn't even that night; it was a couple of hours later.
Yeah.
Here in Australia, even like.
Yeah, that was
available early afternoon.
Good move on their part, considering they just won Game of the Year. You know.
Yeah, what timing?
Yeah, no, it was good. I'm not sure if they know these things preemptively beforehand.
I don't think they do. Some awards they do.
Right.
Because I was listening to Greg Miller talk, because he won Trending Gamer of the Year, 2015.
Yeah.
And he said he didn't know before he won.
Oh, okay. All
so
right.
I don't know if it's some awards know, some don't. Not sure, but
we got the Dr. Disrespect for Trending Gamer this year.
Yes. He gave a good speech as well.
Yeah.
In character.
Oh yeah. He never breaks that character.
Do you know his real name?
Yeah, Guy Beam.
Oh, Guy Beam. Yeah.
He worked on half the maps of Advanced Warfare, which is probably one of the weaker CODs, but
it's all his fault. So disrespectful.
You know, from somebody coming that. And I've had to discuss that a couple of times because, like, you know, working on a Call of Duty cycle must be really hard. Because you only get to make one game every 3 years for that series. And then, you know, you got DLC for a year. Then what have you got for 2 years? You're working on the next one? Because if you're working on the next one, you're still 2 years out. It's probably too early to start.
It's just like a hamster wheel, pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah. So at that point, a map designer's job is, you know, it's pretty... It's not, I'm not going to say simple, but it's very, like, linear. You know, you're not going to be able to design a map around a game that's not complete yet. So, obviously, he stopped that career and he went back to doing something that he loved, which was playing a character called Dr. Disrespect. And he's kept that character up ever since. He never breaks character.
That'd be a good job.
Really entertaining.
Yeah. So, you've finished the Breath of the Wild DLC, Champions Ballad.
Yep.
What's your take on it? I've done like the first set of challenges, and I'm just working through the second lot at the moment.
Okay, so like when you're diving into this DLC, and this is my personal take, you won't find anything that's super extravagant. Like you're going to be like, you're not going to be blown away. There's not like minor spoiler warnings here, obviously, if you want to skip the next couple minutes. But, there's not like a whole lot of new content, all that nice stuff sort of thing. There's, more shrines, more challenges. There's more story context in it, and the new story context was really good. You got to learn more about the champions to a degree, and they only add more of a good visage to them, sort of thing. It was good seeing Mifa, Rivali, Aboza, Daruk. It was good seeing all of them being developed a little more as characters. Yeah. Which is fantastic. That first challenge to actually get into the DLC is a little tricky if you're not stocked up. You need to kind of go into that challenge with a whole ton of arrows because...
Are you talking about the one hit?
Yeah, with the one hit obliterator.
I found most of that fine when I got to the section of enemies on the ice on the snow mountain
on the plateau.
Yeah, I found that difficult. I don't know. I think it was because it was late at night and I was just like, I just died. But yeah, I was there for like an hour. Or whatever it was.
With my excessive playtime of that game, I had a good stock of just about everything. Granted, I used a fair bit of that stock completing the DLC. But with the stockade of arrows and stuff like that, you don't get punished for using the bow in that challenge.
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably fine. You get hit once and it's all over. And if enemies can hit you from range, then how fair is it? So if you use your range stockade a bit, it's not too bad. And then after that, you've got some little puzzle challenges. They're not too hard to figure out. I didn't spend my time racking my brain over them too much to find where I needed to go. I think all up there's about maybe about 16 new shrines, something like that. Which is good.
Does that just mean you get more hearts? Is that what?
I won't go too far into that. You do get. It'd be about 20 new shrines, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think. Yeah, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Yeah. You get spirit orbs for the first set, and then after that you get something different. But you'll find that out later on.
Right.
Yep.
I will.
But yeah, no. I made my way to the end, got my master cycle. That's not a spoiler because everybody knows,
Yes.
unless you weren't paying attention to it, of course, or you didn't want to be spoiled. Then sorry, but it's all over the internet at this point.
We're watching it together. We just laughed out loud when that motorbike just.
Yeah, it was like yes. Now that thing is pretty cool. I do find that there's a lot of people disappointed that it doesn't go like supersonic speeds, like really fast. But I know that's because of hardware limitations and stuff.
Yeah, just loading the game.
Yeah, loading the map. But I find that despite that, it's a damn useful mount in regards. Like, it needs to be refueled. Sure, you can use like a whole bunch of materials that you find and all that stuff to do so it's not too bad. But like when you're just driving around the world and stuff like that, you can go up surfaces that horses generally wouldn't be able to climb and stuff like that, and it's more maneuverable than a horse if you drift and stuff like that. So it's fun jousting a Hinox, which is one of the first things I did. Just jousted down a Hinox. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I think when you find the approach of the bike was not to be a stunt crazy motorcycle.
It's not a Grand Theft Auto motorbike.
No. It's a practical mount in the regards that you can climb just about any surface, which is fantastic. There's only one problem I have with it, and that's that it comes too late. It comes too late in the game. Understandably, for story reasons, it needs to be at that point. But after that, like if you've already gone through Breath of the Wild and you've finished most of it, and
you finish the game, then you finish the DLC, then you get the motorbike. You're pretty much just mucking around on it at that point. Yeah,
you're either looking for shrines or you're looking for Koroks, or you're just mucking around. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of practical use for it outside, like inside the main story.
I think that's probably what it's meant for, though. Just mucking around, bit of fun at the end of the DLC.
Yeah, I guess. The other disappointing thing as well too, though, is that you can't use it in the Gerudo Desert.
Or can't you?
No.
Why's
No.
that? Did they give you a reason?
No, they don't. Not as far as I can tell.
It's too hot
anyway.
or overheat or...
Well, no, you just can't summon it. And that's what it's like in some areas too, though. Like, you can't summon it inside buildings and stuff like that. It just says you can't use it here,
Yeah.
sort of thing. It works exactly like an amiibo rune. So you basically just select it and then you can summon it like at a specific spot and it'll spawn there. You jump on it. But in the desert, I think because they're so... the desert's so centered around sand seal travel that they were kind of just like, well,
Nah.
you know,
Make you suffer still.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it'd be the most boring place to traverse with the bike anyway, because there's nothing to climb,
No.
which is half the point of the bike.
Actually, just bring up a Gerudo Desert. Like, I went back to this DLC, and I actually hadn't gone back for the previous DLC pack.
Mm-hmm.
So I just recently looked at my Traveller's guide,
Yep.
and I actually had touched Gerudo Desert.
Really?
Like, I went around, like, the side of it. And just the other night, I discovered that at the end of the desert, just an invisible wall.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were any invisible walls in the game.
Yeah, it's the only invisible wall in the game, and
Yeah.
it's just treated as the sandstorm's too rough there. I know that.
Well, it wasn't even that. It just said you can't go any further. And I'm just like running against the wall. Like,
Oh yeah, but like the way the game implies it is that the sandstorm is too rough there because it starts to go dark and it starts to get even worse than it is in some areas, sort of thing. I know that if you look past the desert, all there is ocean anyway. So you're not missing out on it.
because I thought it was quite smart at the other end of the map where it's just a huge canyon.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite smart of handling it.
Yeah.
But it seems not a great idea putting invisible wall. Like, these days, I don't think gamers really like invisible walls.
No, I guess not. But
it is hard. Yeah.
I mean, having that extra asset in the big open point in this map where nothing particularly interesting happens doesn't really add anything to the Gerudo Desert. So in this case, it's fine, in my opinion.
Yep.
It sucks that I can't go to the ocean that's on the other side of it. I'm sure somebody's found a way to do it already, but you know, what are you going to do when you get there? You swim around, you die from exhaustion because
there's a series on YouTube called Boundary Break. I forgot who done it, so I can't give them a plug. But they actually just move the camera freely around games. And they've done one for Breath of the Wild, and they actually explore some of those areas.
Yeah, I watched that actually. Yeah,
did you? Yeah, It's quite interesting. There's just like
it's interesting to
flat
learn
rocks and
it's interesting to learn that there's just an entire layer of water underneath the map.
It's interesting just how they design the game.
Yeah,
especially for something so big.
Yeah,
like Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
No.
So, would you recommend like people get this? Obviously, if you're listening to this, you're a pretty big Nintendo fan, and you probably really like Zelda.
I think if you've enjoyed your time with Breath of the Wild, it's pretty obvious to get the expansion pass. I think like if you're looking for more story context, it's in Champion's Ballad. You know, there is some nicer stuff there. You get a nice little. My real reward for it wasn't the motorcycle at all.
Just the story context.
It was the story context, and I got a nice little picture at the end, which you'll see later. And it was really, it was really feelsy. It was really nice. Sort of thing. Adds a whole new section of personality to the characters that we didn't. Obviously, we didn't get to see a lot of because they were dead. Spoiler alert if you haven't played Zelda, but because it just goes back and looks at, how the champions came together and became who they are, and it was definitely the highlight of the expansion for me. I haven't gone around and fussed myself with the costumes or anything, but I didn't in DLC one either. Costumes are costumes to me. I'm not overly fussed about that type of thing. Yeah,
they do have interesting attributes though.
Oh yeah. But,
I haven't got any myself. I've got to go back and find them. And
there's a lot of them though that just have the same attributes as like ones that you can already find in the game.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a popular one is, for example, strength up on spin attack, for example, and I think they've put that on like the Dark Link costume.
Okay.
Which is residing in the game somewhere, but you can have that with the Berserker's set anyway. So. It's only so.
Yeah. So it's for $30 for all the content across the 2 packs. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
$15
overall.
each. So.
I mean, still the master mode probably should have still been in the base game as it was, but can't do much about that. Trial of the Sword is pretty worth it, and Champions Ballad is pretty worth it in my opinion. Just it adds a whole new layer. If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Oh, good.
So Bryce at the Game Awards, Reggie Fils-Aimé was there. He was
Reggie.
He was shaking his chin a little bit, and he announced 3 games all up come to the Switch, 2 early next year.
Yep.
Bayonetta 1 and 2,
which is good.
Yeah, so it's a port of Bayonetta 2, and you get a free download of Bayonetta 1. You didn't get to play too much of Bayonetta 2, did you?
I played a little bit of it, but it was around the time where I had a bunch of other shit that I wanted to play, and the Wii U was starting to drain me.
So, yeah,
as it did for most people near the end of its lifespan. It was just kind of like, oh god, just
because you were a big fan of the first game.
Yeah, Bayonetta 1 was super good.
Yeah, and I bought Bayonetta 2 and played it probably an hour or maybe 2 hours of it.
Yep,
had fun. Never got back to it.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just finish the copy I've got on the Wii U.
I will probably rebuy it again, but that's me. I've got to applaud Nintendo a bit, because not only did they get the funding out to get a second Bayonetta out, it also became one of the most popular games of that year as well.
Yeah. Very highly regarded.
Yeah, it was super highly regarded. And now they're releasing a third Bayonetta, which is fantastic. And I'm glad that Nintendo managed to put the effort in to get this series up and running, and that Platinum did their hardest to make sure that it was worth their time. It's been a really good exchange between the two companies. And I'm glad that Platinum sees not only that they help them, but sees the potential in their hardware to bring this sort of stuff, keep bringing this stuff towards them.
Yeah.
It was a really good investment in time and money for Nintendo, I feel.
I don't know if it's necessarily a good investment for their money back, but it's a great investment to show that Nintendo have just to diversify their catalog, because Nintendo don't really have a third-person action game like Bayonetta.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
So Sony had God of War, and Microsoft have. I don't think they have one either, do they? Anyway. But Nintendo doesn't really have a sort of mature...
They tried. Let's put it that way.
They don't really have a mature sort of a third-person action game.
Yeah.
So just having that in their catalogue, and also bringing fans over from the first game who were playing on either PlayStation or Xbox, that's a good way to get a couple of people.
I wouldn't say it was... No, I'd say it was a good investment all around for them, because in the end, people are still bitching about it to this day. They were still bitching about Bayonetta 2. They're like, oh, Nintendo's greedy, rah, rah, rah. And then you're just like, no, Nintendo's not greedy. There would not be a Bayonetta 2 without Nintendo.
I do see the argument.
I see the argument that it sucks that it's not on other consoles.
Because, what happened with Tomb Raider on Xbox One, whereas, PlayStation fans couldn't play Tomb Raider for a year, or at the time they thought they couldn't play it at all, because Microsoft gave them some money. Square Enix said, cool, thank you very much, which is fine. Yeah, that's business. But this is Nintendo basically stepping in and funding the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just saying, give us the exclusive rights. They're actually publishing it and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly.
So, Bayonetta 2 probably wouldn't exist without Nintendo stepping with the money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Either that, or Sony could have stepped in, gave them the money, even... Microsoft wouldn't have it, and they'll just be angry on that side.
They could have given Platinum money to do that and revive the series and keep on going, but they didn't, and Nintendo was like, okay, we'll do it then.
Because it was Sega that published the first one, was it?
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
So Sega obviously didn't see it being worthwhile to keep it going, and...
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is it's in the same vein as, Devil May Cry. A lot of people enjoyed Devil May Cry games, but to a degree, it was... you're trying to hinder off the backbone of all these other third-party monsters that come out every year and stuff like that. It's too hard.
Yeah, it's
really hard for those companies to sort of keep up. And unfortunately, Platinum Games had a really struggling time, in my opinion. You had stuff like Vanquish and Bayonetta that were really good, but they didn't sell crazy. So Nintendo funding a second Bayonetta, and then not only getting a Bayonetta 2, but having it being critically acclaimed and being a fucking like great game for the Wii U's catalog was fantastic. You know, so for Nintendo to turn around, not only fund them to make the second game, but now we're coming in for a third one.
Yeah, that was announced at the Game Awards.
Yep,
so it's a bit of a tease in development for Switch exclusively.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, and like it becoming one of Nintendo's now flagships is awesome, because as crazy as Bayonetta can be, it's a pretty damn good like set of games.
Yeah.
You know, the combat's always nice and fluid and stuff like that, which time is satisfying to use, combos, you know, all that stuff. The story's not super unique. I'll put that out there. Angels and devils is not a unique concept. But like the characters in Bayonetta are what
they're fun. They're fun and silly, yeah.
They keep me going, you know. Yeah. That was the best part of it. And you know, you get the same sort of thing in Devil May Cry as well, with different characters as well. It's the main comparison, because they basically hit for the same genre.
Yeah,
Angels and Devils, third person action sort of thing.
It's funny. Like looking back on it, Bayonetta 1, you wouldn't expect Bayonetta to become a sort of staple Nintendo character.
No, you wouldn't. No,
like she's in Super Smash Brothers. She's going to be 2 exclusive games on the system. Yeah, it's kind of. I'm wondering where Bayonetta 1 falls, because that last year it got published on PC on Steam.
I think so.
Yeah, so that game's obviously still owned by Sega or...
Yeah, well, it must be. But I think Sega already have like a pretty decent relationship with Nintendo. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and for Bayonetta just earns the money, even if, you know, they're not selling it. If Nintendo's selling it, Sega still has the rights. I don't know whether Nintendo bought them out or...
I don't know. It'd be interesting to sort of know the...
It would be, the logistics behind it.
Because Platinum might own... the Bayonetta IP, and they just go out to Sega to publish it, and they said no, so now they've gone to Nintendo. Yeah.
But like that aside, you know, just having the opportunity to have such a character and an IP in general like that come to Nintendo platform has been a pretty strong thing.
Like at
least in my opinion.
in Smash Bros, see like Pikachu next to Bayonetta, like in a tights and with a cleavage.
But see, Bayonetta was also satisfying in that game, sort of thing. You know, like it's really strange, because I understand that you know that it's not the strongest genre lately, especially. Third person action.
No, it's all gone open world now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's all sort of gone open world. But like, I think there's a special place for these kind of titles.
It's sort of evolved into the more like the Dark Souls kind of combat, where people are looking for something a bit harder, a bit more thoughtful.
People are looking for challenges.
Yeah, I think people are looking for more thoughtful things rather than like skill. I don't know.
But the issue is between two games like that, and I'll just touch on this quickly. And if you're a fan of Ego Raptor at all,
yes,
anybody that's listening, you would have eventually came across a sequelitis, which was Ocarina of Time versus Link to the Past. And he'd made it very clear that he was a Link to the Past fan, and that he thought Ocarina of Time was just slow and trudging. In my opinion, Dark Souls and other games like it suffer the same sort of problem. Right. You spend a lot of time dodging and a lot of less time attacking. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if you get hit, you die.
You're a big like a Devil May Cry Bayonetta fan, aren't you? It's sort of like
I like those games. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I like heavy action games. You know, whether it be like something as simple as like the Warriors franchise in general, or you know, Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, etc.
Yeah.
Resident Evil, if you want to count it in that, because to a degree.
No, not Resident Evil.
No. I would kind of lump it in there, except it's obviously more on the horror side. But
it's nowhere near as fast and combo oriented.
No, but you do realise that Devil May Cry was made off. It was either Devil May Cry was made off a Resident Evil engine, because it was originally you know, sort of thing. That's why I lump it in with the same vein, is because technically, you know, over the years it's kind of come off the same sort of As the same vein as Devil May Cry, it's just a different setting. But like I've played like a bit of Dark Souls, a bit of Bloodborne. I've played a bit of everything. You know, I lose my patience with them because I just want to kill things. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I never
bother touching.
Tried them. Yeah.
No.
I wanted to play Bloodborne at some stage. I'm like, I'm gonna get home from work and I'm just gonna hate myself if I'm playing this type of game.
Yeah. Like I understand why people would enjoy it, and I understand like killing something would be super satisfying because you're like, oh my god, I've been doing this for ages. But the problem is the doing this for ages bit for me.
Yeah.
Like if I want to come home and I want to kill shit, if I put in Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, I just kill a lot of things quickly.
Even Bayonetta though, that's pretty hard.
Oh yeah,
those games are pretty hard.
Bayonetta can be pretty hard, yeah. But the difference is like because it's less about. I mean, obviously, Bayonetta has positives in dodging, like witch time.
Yeah,
but it immediately dodging and getting witch time leads into a positive attacking thing. Do you know what I mean? You're immediately going back to slicing something.
You're rewarded with your
good
execution. Yeah.
Exactly. You're immediately rewarded with your good execution. Whereas in games like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, etc., you know, I don't have to say that a million times. You know, you're rewarded for knowing an enemy's pattern per se. It's not about your actual skill with the combat per se as much as it is knowing what the enemy's going to do. The games force you to play something over and over again to get a result.
So you learn its patterns and you can manipulate that. Yeah,
yeah. That's why I could never really go back and do all like. Obviously, I've played a good amount of time in them to go, sort of thing.
I was thinking about getting into Dark Souls because when the Switch first came out, there's rumors that
it was going to get ported.
Yeah, they have it running, but those games are really technically impressive. So it'd be interesting to see what it would look like on Switch.
But
so is Doom and the Bethesda's games. So they've got them going.
Yeah, they're all working them out pretty much well and fine. But no, even if I suppose what I'm trying to culminate to is even if Nintendo never gets anything like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or anything like that, me as an individual, I'm perfectly happy with something like Bayonetta because it delivers a similar experience just in a different sort of taste.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're still feeling that gritty sort of combat sort of thing with plenty of blood or whatever.
Yeah.
But in a different style.
I hope they actually go out and whether they're making it themselves or finding more partners like Platinum, but I hope they go out and get some more like mature games.
Well, yeah, the thing is,
not necessarily because I'm like, oh, I want blood.
I want edgy.
It is just interesting having a better, like a more diverse portfolio.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because like on the other guy's side, on Microsoft, for example, they've got pretty much all hardcore like war games apart from Rare, who they've got developing Sea of Thieves, and they've re-releasing Banjo-Kazooie and things like that. But
yeah.
And Sony's got a couple of things. They had Little Big Planet, and they've got a Media Molecule making Dreams, and Knack. Can't forget Knack.
Oh, Knack.
Yeah.
Good old Knack.
And of course, Ratchet and Clank and that. But
just spinning off that though. Let's have a quick talk about the 2018 and beyond lineup that we've received this year.
It's going to be a short conversation.
It's going to be a short conversation, but only to a degree, because I feel like whatever that they've announced for 2018 and beyond so far has been good.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, and let's talk about what we want to see in 2018.
Yeah, good idea.
So we'll do that. So it's at E3, Yoshi and Kirby games got announced for 2018.
Yep.
So they're two games we've actually seen gameplay for.
Yep. Which is good.
Yeah, they look fun.
Yeah, they look fun.
Another Yoshi game, another Kirby game.
Yeah.
2-player, 4-player, whatever you want to do. Joy-Cons.
Yeah, the thing is though is again still it's Nintendo IPs that more Nintendo IPs they get on that system quickly, the better. In my
quality.
Opinion. As long as they're quality.
Because
as long as they're quality.
That's what's gotten them to where they are at the moment.
The issue. The issue that they've had in the Wii U's past is that they couldn't deliver a consistent lineup that was quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like you could go 2 years without a game, and then you get a quality one or you get a shit one. It was random.
What I meant about quality's got them where they are is the Switch is going well, and because all their games have been quality this year.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as they keep delivering that standard of quality, it'll succeed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like, while I'm not super excited for the Yoshi and Kirby games, it will be nice to have that sort of really family-friendly 2D game. You can chuck a Joy-Con to a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not going to rush out and buy them immediately, sort of thing.
No,
but having an immediate presence on the console is a fantastic thing.
Yeah,
you know, it's the sort of thing where like a lot of Nintendo's IPs kind of felt like lackluster or completely ignored during the Wii U's time.
Yeah,
sort of thing. Unless it came down to Smash Bros, and then it's just like, you know, Smash Bros only goes so far because Smash Bros is a mashup game.
Yeah.
But with so much coming out within, like, we've had so much within the first year that has been crazy. Even like a lot of people are just like, oh, the Switch is getting ports and ports don't count, and then it's just like, well, for the people that didn't buy a Wii U or didn't fucking bother, it counts for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Which is a fair few people.
A lot of people. Yeah. A lot of people that didn't buy a Switch. It's like that went and bought a Switch, I should say.
It's like with Bayonetta 2 coming the Switch. I don't care. I've bought that game.
Yeah, but
I'll play that game on... I'll get over the fact that I'm playing with this awkward ass controller, and now I'm like, all right, I've bought it now. I'm playing it here. I'm not spending another $80.
Yep, right, yeah.
Because I'm trying to be good with my money.
But for the people that didn't give a shit at the time, you know, it'd be great, because Bayonetta 2 again was an amazing game. It got crazy scores and it was really good. You know, when you take that into account, and then you have like the late life Pokken tournament and stuff like that came out as well. Not that I particularly care too much about it, and neither do you.
No,
like, that's already obvious. I'm pretty sure your copy's still been sitting on my shelf for the last year.
Yeah, so I bought it, and after about a week or two, I let you borrow it, and I still hadn't got it back to play it.
Yeah, because you know, you weren't too interested.
And that's one of the only like first party Nintendo games I haven't picked up on the Switch this year.
Yeah, which is fair. You know, the game is not particularly what you're looking for, and that's fine. But for the people that do want to play it, it's there. You know, and a lot of people wouldn't have picked that up because it was near the end of the Wii U's life, and nobody gave a shit about it because it was a shit ton of money to buy one.
Yeah,
you know,
just looking back on the Wii U lineup across like the whole 5 years or whatever it was, every game's perfect for the Switch.
Yeah.
And it just shows you that this is like the console they really wanted to make.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like
this is what they were going for with the Wii U.
I've been saying that for a long time too.
Yeah.
Like, I've been sitting there like, oh my god, you know, this is clearly what they wanted to do with the Wii U. Yeah. You know, but they just didn't know how they were going to do it. They didn't think they could fit it in. Like,
so Super Mario 3D World, I know it's not your favourite Mario, but what a perfect game for the Switch.
Yeah,
perfect game.
Oh, absolutely.
4-player, 4 Joy-Cons.
Well, yeah, perfectly fine for the Switch.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine. But, you know, it is something that you can play anywhere.
Well, you're saying it's fine on the Switch, but it's perfect for the rubbish bin. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I didn't really give a shit about it on the rubbish bin, as you've so lightly called it. I didn't really care for it too much. I understand that there's a lot of people that did like it, but I don't know. I felt like it was something that belonged on the 3DS. We had an iteration of it on the 3DS, and it was fine.
Yep.
But then, like, when it came to Wii U, it's like the focus is on multiplayer. Nobody wanted to play the fucking Wii U. Who gave a shit about it?
Someone will say something. Not me, but
you know, me. Who keeps saying that?
I'm looking forward to finishing a couple of games like Bayonetta 2 and whatever. Getting Smash Bros on the Switch, then I can.
Then you can.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at it from that perspective, ports have been good this year. Like, a lot of people generally don't agree. They're like, ports. You know, ports aren't real releases. It's like, no. In this case scenario, when the Wii U did really bad and the Switch is doing really good, I think it's a positive thing.
Because I was really happy to get Mario Kart 8 again on Switch.
Yeah, shit, yeah. And like, you know, you can't. the ports that came out from other developers this year as well. Skyrim, Doom. You know, we've got Wolfenstein 2 next year, which is crazy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting what that looks like.
Yeah. And then, you know, you've got LA Noire. Like, Rockstar hasn't given a shit about Nintendo.
No.
In a long time.
Not since the Nintendo 64 days with their original game, which turned into GTA.
Yeah, exactly.
Got the name of.
No, I can't remember it either. But, you know, seeing that publishers are obviously interested in what this console can do for their brand is good. Yeah. And I don't care if it's only going to, like, they're only going to initially release a port of something to test the waters. That's fine. You know, a lot of people see that as a negative thing. I'm like, no, it means they're interested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? LA Noire was re-released for everything. Okay, so it wasn't just Nintendo, so you can't just be like, oh, it's just a port of LA Noire. It's like, well, no, it was re-release. And Switch got considered for it. That's fantastic. I'm not a massive fan of LA Noire. Jade played through it. Jade played through LA Noire just fine.
Yeah.
And she thought it was good. She thought it was alright. Like, it's not the most extravagant game ever, but, you know, LA Noire. It's fine. Obviously, we got stuff like Doom and Skyrim, which have been highly regarded games. And Bethesda have been really putting their hands in there, which is fantastic because Bethesda's a good development studio. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I reckon they're one of the sort of the best, partners Nintendo could probably get from a third party. Just huge single player games. That's what you sort of want on Switch.
But with the only real blunder that they've had was Tezo, Elder Scrolls Online. I know that
they've gone back and fixed it though, haven't they?
Well, yeah, to a degree, but like it was like their only major real blunder in the past couple of years, sort of thing. It was super expensive to play, and I'm not going to go into it, but I played it for a little bit, and it's like, eh.
It went to did it go free to play?
Oh,
did it?
You buy it and then it's free to play.
Yeah, okay.
No longer a subscription service, which is fine. That's what it needed to be in the first place. You know, a game that's so much like Skyrim or something like that, and people are just going to go back to Skyrim. Yeah. They don't give a shit about the MMO aspect too much.
All right, we'll get back to anticipated Switch games for next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else is announced? So there's Bayonetta 3.
Yep.
It's in development. Probably not next year.
Yep.
There's Pokemon in development. Probably not next year. Mm-hmm. And there's Metroid in development. Also probably not next year.
No.
So they're going to come out either January or February with a direct and sort of outline
what's going on.
What's going on. So probably for the first 6 months, maybe. Yeah. Then at E3 they blow it out with their holiday game or what's going on.
The mere confirmation of those three IPs though has me excited. Because it is three big IPs. They might not necessarily come next year, but having a mainline Pokemon game on the Switch is going to be fantastic. Hopefully, you know, like I haven't been too happy with some, obviously.
Yeah.
And I know
Ultra
a lot
Sun,
of people,
Ultra Moon, yeah.
I know a lot of people that are kind of just like, I've kind of felt like I played a $40 beta test of the last game to get this one.
It's not even that. It's Sun and Moon, but it's like you play through Sun and Moon. The things in Ultra Sun and Moon you would expect to be like, hey, download this expansion pass. You get the wormholes. You get this and you get that. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. Because I bought them and I was going to play through it, and I played through the first quarter. I'm like, oh, this is so similar. It's not even funny.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
I just want to get to the end to do the ultra wormholes find the legendaries and that. That's all I wanted to do.
And do Rainbow Rocket and all that shit.
Yeah, it's just like they're just those things they highlighted in the trailers were the extras.
Yeah. Which is like, well,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm hoping the next Pokemon game will actually have some meat to it.
I think it will. I think it will have some meat to it. I don't think it's going to be... They've got a lot more space to work with now, let's put it that way.
Yeah, no.
But also...
Are they able to work with that space?
I'm sure they will. At least in some direction.
It would be interesting seeing Game Freak work on essentially a full console Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Because they've...
Look, they could leave it as it is now and upscale it and just make a massive world and they'll be happy.
Oh, I think they better do more than that.
No, I mean I mean the same sort of perspective,
right? Yeah.
But give us a much bigger world. You know, give us multiple regions we can go across or whatever.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't think they'll do that. They
give us more content, whatever. But I feel like if they're going to try really hard to make a 3D Pokemon that isn't quite the same, it's just going to throw people off. You know. Pokemon has grown as an IP as it has. It has pretty much standed in the same direction as it has for the past, what is it, 25 years?
And it's like the mascot of video games almost. It's right up there. Yeah,
exactly. So like, if you ask them for too much, sort of thing, it's gonna be crazy. Like you've got a lot of beta Pokemon, like people make Unreal Engine demos, for example, and you got someone's like, oh, look at this, look at this Pokemon demo where like I catch this Charmander or Pikachu in real time, and then they fight in real time. I don't think that's gonna work.
No, God no.
God no.
I'm not saying go into it and just rip out the battle mechanics and everything you love about the game and make it some third-person action game. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying put plenty of stuff to do. Play through the main game and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like, what I really hated about Sun and Moon is just every single route you go to, every town, it's just blah, 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 text, dialogue.
Talk.
And since I already played the game, going to Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I'm just pressing A. I'm like, shut up. Because they say a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
They say a lot of nothing. They're just going on about, you meet this guy, this is the professor, this is his wife, blah, 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 blah. So I don't care. Like, in all the other games, all the other games, you go into the town, you talk to some NPCs, you heal your Pokemon, you just look around, see what's going on.
Yeah.
I feel like it almost needs, maybe not a Breath of the Wild treatment, but maybe a Link Between Worlds treatment.
Yeah.
Mix up the order, sort of go around. It is a bit harder in a game like that, just having like the levels and.
I don't think it is actually. I think it's very possible to scale. I think Pokemon would probably benefit from something like it scales to your party.
Okay.
To a degree, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it would mean like sometimes if you're going through like a low Pokemon run or something like that, it wouldn't leave it very challenging. Or
I guess what they could do is like whatever the first gym you go to, that's. Level 10 Pokemon to second gym, level 20 Pokemon, whatever, just work out a way. I don't know, because it's just they tried to mix it up in the Sun and Moon with the trials. I think the trials were still essentially the same thing.
They were kind of the same thing. I think they had a lot more personality, which was nice, but they're not fun to do over again.
Yeah, I just feel the way Sun and Moon went, they made it just really linear.
Oh, it's so linear.
In a game that's about exploring and mixing up your party, discovering new monsters.
Not being able to travel the sea was the worst thing ever.
That really surprised me. Yeah, it's like, wait, you can't explore the sea? It's just...
Yeah, it's like this big open sea and you can't explore it. And then, like, apparently there was, like, that Mantine game and use some.
Yeah, so you basically just go between it, just doing jumps off waves. And
yeah, and people were like, oh, I'm so excited to surf around on a Mantine. No, that wasn't the case.
No, it's a mini game instead of just watching the boat cutscene. Yeah.
And you're kind of just like, oh.
So yeah, like Pokemon's one of my favourite franchises. It's why I'm such a big Nintendo nerd. And
you're a critic about these kinds of things.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because like it does feel like in the past, like... Oh god, you get a lot of people that are just like, and this is to a degree, it's a fair point. Right? Where people are like, oh well, in the past we got stuff like Emerald or Crystal or something like that pretty much did the same thing, and then it's just like, well, yeah, in a time where there was no DLC, downloadable content wasn't a thing. It wasn't a possible thing. The only way to get downloadable content was adding an extension to your console or game cart. Yeah. Which obviously didn't take off. The 64DD was enough to tell you that, But then, not only that, but it was only one sequel.
Yeah.
Right? You move on to that. We've now... you had Black 2 and White 2, which were essentially everything you would want in a third Pokemon game. Even if it was 2.
Yeah.
It was set 2 years in the future. You had a different route of gyms. You had a completely unique story to those sequels.
Yeah.
It was essentially the same region and everything, but it was completely revamped.
That's why Sun and Moon, or Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, was so disappointing.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be the way going forward, doing like sequels.
Yeah.
But just starting the game, and I remember in the trailer, they were just like, oh, you meet your starter Pokemon a different way. I'm like,
cool.
That is
not a reason for me to buy this game.
That is not great, yeah.
Yeah. But when you look at it from that perspective, it's just kind of like how like in the era of DLC, we had a set of Pokemon games. Even if people don't like I know people don't like Black and White that much. A lot of people seem to think it's the weakest in the series, and
probably just the vocal minority. I would say
maybe. I disagree with it. I think Black, White, and Black 2 and White 2 are some of the strongest in the series because of the sequels that came out.
I think it's just like the handful of really different and weird Pokemon designs.
I guess
it's just your Trubbish and your Vanillux and those Pokemon which made people go, what? I think that was most of it. I guess, but like when you look at it from a completely different perspective of like the story was extended. By far the strongest story. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like taking off your shaders for red and blue with like your super iconic characters. By far the strongest story. Actually trying to push a message about animal cruelty and things like that. Even though it turns around, he doesn't give a fuck about that. But push not only pushing that message, but showing that like a world, a region, even as you would call it, can be developed and pushed forward as a sequel. Yeah. Was fantastic. It was great. Like it shows how the world's progressed. Yeah, and we've never once in probably 20 or however many Pokemon games there are, way more than that, I think. So. We've never seen that in the series. No, we never got that again, sort of thing. But then Usum came out of the woodwork. And it was kind of just like, great, what are they going to do with this? And it was essentially what everybody's been like, it's no different to Emerald. It's like, sure, it's no different to Emerald. The difference is, though, is that we're in the era of a time where downloadable content is the thing. Okay? So, sure, a lot of people are like, but I won't want DLC. It's not a physical product. And then it's just like, you're buying the same game. Yeah. You're literally buying the same game. Because now on 3DS, they can make DLC. Yeah. Exactly. It's not an impossible thing to do. And then on top of that, you push that forward a bit. And you shill out 2 copies of it. Yeah. So you put exclusive Pokemon in those games. It's essentially the Emerald Crystal treatment, where it's the third in a sequel. Yellow treatment, even it was the same thing. Yeah, and they're splitting it up. Yeah. And they're splitting it up, making you pay double if you want all those exclusive Pokemon. Because even as a kid, like I played Sapphire. 2 years later, they bring out Emerald. Emerald, you get access to Battle Frontier and stuff. Well, you get access to Pokemon that were in both. Yeah. In that, and like little things like that when you're a kid are exciting. Yeah, and again, in a time when DLC wasn't a thing. And you get access to Groudon, Kyogre. It's like, you get both in the same game. Yeah. So kids these days would be like probably excited for Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon the same way we're excited for Emerald and that. Yeah. So it is kind of hard to judge because these are primarily with kids in mind. I mean, they are primarily within kids in mind, but they're also shilling for Christmas. I think that's half the problem as well. Just they're shilling out for Christmas. Well, they're a lot more focused on for kids now. I feel like the older games anyone can play. You can sort of. The problem with saying that though is that we've all grown up with Pokemon. Yeah. So it's not excusable to completely ignore the people that have been sticking with the series for this many years. I've been with it for 20 years. 20. Yeah, it's crazy. 20 friggin' years, sort of thing. And I still love Pokemon, and I can guarantee that a lot of people my age, your age, still do love Pokemon. So, you can't just say, all of our fans have moved on, because that's a complete bullshit lie. No. You brought back a ton of people with Pokego. I'd love to see the stats of how older the average Pokemon fan is. Oh, I think it'd have to be in the teenagers. It'd be like 18. It'd be around about 16 or something. Anywhere between 16 and 18. Yeah. Because those people can actually buy it with their own money that they earn from their jobs. Yeah. Like a lot of kids get this stuff for Christmas. They're like, Mum, I want Pokemon for Christmas. And then, they get it for Christmas, sure, but they're not the ones buying it on release date. They're not the ones pre-ordering it. Those are the adults who have grown up with it. Not the nerds on Twitch streaming it. Yeah, exactly. Giving you more source of revenue, like all that sort of shit, free advertisement. We're just seeing the PokeTubers on YouTube. Yeah. They're all like 22, 23. Exactly. About, yeah. And they're not exactly small. No. No.
You know, a lot of PokeTubers get a lot of good traction.
Yeah. So we're just talking from a sense of passion because we love Pokemon.
Yeah.
And we want a Pokemon game on Switch that is going to...
That is worth the money.
Well, it's that we can play for ages.
Yeah.
Like,
one that we can actually be excited about and is not just use some, I guess.
Yeah, so let's hope there's a good one on Switch.
And the final thing we got to talk about is Metroid.
Yes.
Metroid, yes.
Yes.
I'll let you talk first because you have the tips of your fingers in Metroid, whereas I've got more of a hand in. If you know what I mean. Well, so talk to me. What do you expect? What do you want to see from Metroid? As somebody who's played a little bit of Metroid.
I'm looking for an extension of the Prime series since it's called Metroid Prime 4.
Gotcha.
Hopefully we'll see a really good story, good campaign from Samus. And I really would like to see multiplayer in this.
Absolutely.
Like we've talked before.
Hunters. Oh yeah, after Hunters.
Because a lot of people would have looked over Hunters, seeing as it's not ideal controls and...
All that stuff.
But
the multiplayer was so fun.
It was great, so I would love to see that put into it. Because like with Nintendo reaching out to Platinum, publishing Bayonetta, it'd be great for them to have a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Because, whether Activision or EA or those big guys come to the Switch and put a first-person shooter on there anyway, Call of Duty, Battlefield doesn't suit the Switch.
No.
I don't even care if it shows up, to be honest.
No, of course, no.
I don't think the Switch needs it. People who are interested in those types of games will be...
buying them on whatever.
Will have their high-powered PC or the Xbox One X or the PlayStation Pro.
Where all their other friends are playing it.
Yeah, so it would be great to see a Nintendo-made first-person shooter, and I think Metroid's always been a fantastic candidate for that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I really want to see.
Well, yeah.
What about yourself?
Okay, so as somebody who's played through not quite all of Super Metroid, but most of it, unfortunately lost my save file for that and didn't want to go back and do it again. I've played through pretty much all the primes. I think the only one that I didn't finish was Echoes, and that's only because I didn't have an accessible copy.
Yeah.
I played through Corruption. Played through Hunters. All those nice things. The best time that I ever had was with Hunters, in my opinion, because as kids, we all had our own copy, and we'd play Hunters. And you could play that with download play, even if you didn't have a copy, and it was crazy.
Just get to play as Samus, though.
Yeah, you only get to play as Samus, but still...
And I ended up just playing Samus anyway, because I really like the lock-on missiles.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's not too bad.
But, there was great diversity in that multiplayer, and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
What's something that's always interested me in Metroid is the environments that you traverse. You get all sorts of different places in one planet.
Really weird.
Yeah, they can be really strange.
Not many games have sort of really weird alien sort of feeling planets, especially like a first-person shooter for a multiplayer game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's only like some parts of Halo, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sci-fi shooter we're missing out on.
Yeah.
Halo's not exactly got the best traction nowadays. It's very, very, very slowly going down the sink. So we're missing a sci-fi action shooter sort of thing with some multiplayer, and we had Prey recently, which was apparently fantastic. I'd never got around to playing it though. I need to purchase it sometime and play it. But it's a genre that's not being explored much at the moment. Sort of thing. And Metroid has a strong place in just about everybody's hearts. Who's a Nintendo fan, I suppose.
Everyone's hearts. It's like...
Everyone's hearts. It's like this 102-year-old grandmother. Man, I really miss Samus.
I don't know what a video game is, but I love Metroid.
But I think it's something that needs to come strong, come with all these features that could be really cool. I understand that we might not get multiplayer for it, but I damn hope we do. I know we've got Splatoon for that type of thing, but it's not quite the same.
Oh, no. Nowhere near.
Splatoon is all about turf wars and, all that.
Capture the flag.
Capture the flag.
Squid the kid.
But, having because Metroid can invoke so many different emotions. Like, it has the capability to do that. It can invoke fear. You can invoke, pride and all that nice stuff when you take down like a big ass monster, or you'd be afraid of being ganked by a million Metroids in your face, and you're just like, yeah, they're trying to face suck me. Sort of like what Half-Life did for people.
Yeah,
Half-Life was the same thing, But I think that it needs to come out. It needs to show us all those beautiful Metroid environments that we could have. It needs to, if possible, I know again, if possible, multiplayer where we can have that access to different characters or different weapons, or have some fun with it. Even if it's just 4v4 multiplayer or something like that, that'd be really cool. We need to have more characterization of Samus, but not as much as Metroid Other M. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I'd like to see Samus evolve more as a character, which didn't really happen in Other M. It kind of regressed her a bit.
It'd be interesting to see what Nintendo does with Samus as a character, like knowing the pushback from Other M.
Yeah,
it would be see if they just shy away from it or they try a different approach. And it's also harder to do it in a game like that, which will presumably be first person as well. They'll just have to do it through cutscenes or.
No, I don't think it's completely impossible to tell a story through the gameplay, as we've seen with many other games in the past. Like, it's not hard to hear some dialogue boxes from like Samus or something like that when we walk into a place that's just like a deserted ice ruins or something, and she's just like, "Wow, what the?"
She's like, "Whoa, this is cool."
Whoa, this is cool, dude.
No, dude.
Oh my god, dude!
I should have brought my sunglasses.
Oh, that's a funny joke. Yeah.
I hope that's what the new Metroid game is. All right, Bryce,
Sonic.
we'll keep things moving because we're at almost at an hour.
Oh god, jeez. Hasn't been hard to talk about all this stuff, really, has it?
No,
but yeah.
But out of these games that are in development and we don't have any release dates on, do you think any will be next year?
Oh god, I really want to say I really want to say yes, but I don't see it happening. It'll probably be 2019. I have a feeling like we're still going to get a pretty decent year next year, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as strong as this one.
Oh, it can't be.
No, I think it'd be impossible, right?
I think a lot of these games would have been held back from last year.
Yeah.
For the Wii U, because Zelda would have been ready for like Christmas time last year, I would assume.
Oh yeah.
Mario's usually on a 3-year development cycle, and that third year fell last year. So that was probably originally a Wii U game back in the day. And what do you think of Smash Bros next year?
Oh please!
Do you think that would be a gap filler, like a Wii U port to fill in? I
think so.
A big gap.
The thing is that I know. I don't know if you saw on the internet the other day, but there was a teaser, like a Chinese teaser for Melee HD.
Ooh.
But the problem is a lot of people, the people that teased it said something about being Chinese exclusive or something.
Oh, actually, that's a big news story that happened in the world of Nintendo. Nintendo's partnered with Nvidia to put Wii games on the Nvidia Shield in China.
Oh, wow!
So that might be that.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this?
No.
Basically, they partnered with Nvidia because obviously they're partnered with Nvidia for the Switch Integra chip, and they're putting Twilight Princess, Punch Out, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii on the Nvidia Shield exclusively in China.
Right.
I guess it's just to kickstart keep their brand awareness up without actually putting hardware into the country.
China has a really weird market in video games.
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah,
it's really strange.
It's recently opened up, but
but it's so strange. You look at it's like all these things you get released in China that don't get released here, but at the same time, some of them are like, oh damn, I wish I had that, and the others are just like, what the?
So yeah, that's a really interesting.
Yeah, it's really
thing what happened, which I completely forgot about.
It's really strange, yeah. And I'm hoping that it is for the Nvidia Shield, so people can just shut up about it not being in other countries on Switch, which it seems everybody's convinced it is. So it would be, as much as I'd like to say cool to a Melee HD, I feel like it regresses the series a lot because unfortunately the Melee competitive scene is. I mean, just give it to them. But if you give it to them, then it's going to hinder the sales of the next Smash Bros. Or whatever. Because the melee community is so harsh. They're so quick to judge Sakurai and his decisions.
I don't think they'll affect the sales of the next Smash Bros. I think it'll just make more money because everyone goes and buys Melee HD instead of just putting it on their computer. Or
it'll affect it because there's so many people out there that just refuse to play any other Smash than Melee.
But would they not buy it anyway?
Probably not.
Yeah,
they're that critical. You look at Smash players, Melee players' view on like Brawl or even 4, they're not fond of it at all. You look at Evo tourneys and stuff like that. They've got there's like shit tons of people entered in Melee, but like 4,000 people entered in like Smash 4 or whatever, and you're just like, oh my. Oh, it's such a shame because Smash 4 is a good game.
Whenever we bring up Smash Bros, it always turns into... If you go back to early episodes, it's just like, what do you think of Smash 4? And you're just like, oh, it's great, but the Melee fans, oh.
Yeah, well, that's the... I mean, I can go on about it for days, but that like... it's... I don't have a problem with Melee at all, but Melee fans can be so damn aggressive. They're like, why haven't we got Ridley yet? This game sucks. I'm going back to my wave dashing. Oh, yeah, you're going back to your exploit that you've been using for the past 7 years? Good
Actually, in a few days, Brawlout comes out on the Switch, which is a...
Yeah, which we talked about last week. It's just disappeared off the face of the earth, and now it's got a release date.
Yeah, so it's coming out December 19th, and it's basically an indie Super Smash Bros. And it's showing all the features of the game, and one of the features is wave dashing. It actually says in the trailer, wave dashing.
No.
And I'm just like, oh god.
Why would you pander to that?
Because people will see it and they'll go, cool, and they'll buy it.
Oh,
and the developers are probably big Melee fans too.
Maybe.
Yeah. Alright, so Bryce, we'll move away from that topic and we'll move on to the last one quickly. So it's basically the Switch has hit 10 million units sold in 9 months.
That's right.
Which is an incredibly fantastic turnaround from the Wii U.
Yeah.
Which the lifetime sales is a bit over 13 million.
Really?
So it's almost... So the Switch is going to eclipse it by early next year. Well, probably because of Christmas, it'll probably sell heaps between that.
And that kind of just reflects back on like these people didn't get to play these ports. Like holy shit, we're almost caught up to the Wii U. The Wii U's been out for how long? 6 years.
Yeah, and there's a few more stats just in my head because this article doesn't actually say it. But 3 games have sold over 50% of the install base, which is Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and Mario Kart 8.
Yep. And
Splatoon has sold to 1/4 of the Switch user base. So Nintendo's games obviously selling really well on Nintendo hardware, which isn't surprising at all.
No.
Because like the other half of the Switch owners, it's like, why don't you have Mario or Zelda? Are you waiting for Christmas? What's going on here?
Yeah. Did you buy a Switch to play Shovel Knight or something?
Yeah, just, which is fine because it's a fantastic indie machine.
Yeah.
Well, but
yeah. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. No.
I'm just wondering because like, if you got a Nintendo system, so no, I'm not going to get Mario or... I guess,
I didn't think so.
Got Siri.
Hi Siri. Thanks for listening.
But that's basically the year in a nutshell. Nintendo's been done a fantastic job, and in some ways, it's been a really fun year to start this podcast.
Oh yeah,
because we wanted to start it last year, sometime maybe late last year.
Yeah,
and we wanted to start it before the NX got named the Switch, and it just never happened because of whatever reasons.
You get busy.
Yeah. But I wonder it would be fascinating going back to our conversations back when it was NX, saying like, "Oh, come on, just hurry up.
Oh, yeah.
we need the NX to come out."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But overall, it's just been a damn fantastic year, and I hope that it just means like sound and proof that we're going to get a good lineup the next couple of years.
So they don't have Mario and Zelda next year, but I'm still pretty confident they're going to have a nice year.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully we'll see something like ARMS, a new IP, come out that's interesting and fun. A few other games come out which rely on their IPs, and see the third party support get amped up even more.
Yeah,
because it's been Has it exceeded your expectations, the third-party support?
Absolutely.
Especially on the indie side.
Yeah, being a Wii U owner, anything is good. Anything is good. But
well, to be fair, even being a PlayStation 4 fan,
yeah.
then coming to the Switch, there's heaps on the Switch.
Yeah,
the Switch, if you just own a Switch, that is, you have plenty of games to play.
Yeah.
The Wii U, you definitely wouldn't. You'd be scratching the barrel and you'd be eating some old grapes off the bottom.
Yeah, good way to put it. I don't know. I think that's this has been a pretty good wrap up of this year, though.
Yeah. Steve. Oh,
we've got Christmas coming up, so we'll probably have our little breaks from during the Jingle Bells onwards.
Yeah. So I just want to thank every single person this year that's listened to one episode or...
Oh, God, I don't care if you've listened to half an episode.
If you've listened to half an episode or whatever it may be, thank you very much for listening. We love talking crap into these microphones, speaking about Nintendo every week.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something we both love to talk about, love to play.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us on this ride.
Yeah, it's a crazy journey.
I can't wait to amp it up in 2018. We've got lots of plans and things that will be happening in the first
set in motion
quarter, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Depending on when this house and all that goes through.
Yeah.
But this is our last episode of the traditional House of Mario episodes. Next
for the year, yeah.
Yeah, for the year, not in general.
Not forever.
Next week we're going to be doing a Nintendo episode where we sort of just talk about whatever. If you'd like to join us for that, talk some stuff, feel free to join us. If not, well, we'll see you in the new year. We'll take the what the hell was that?
Dishwasher, probably.
Dishwasher, okay.
Yeah, we're in the kitchen, by the way. That's how homeless this boy is.
Yeah, I'm in between houses, so we're in his kitchen with the microphones. But yeah, if you'd like to join us next week and have some fun, talk about whatever. And what was I saying? We're going to take the week off. What week were we taking off, Bryce?
Not next week, following week, Christmas week.
Christmas week.
Because not only we're going to be stuffed as hell in our jobs, it's probably going to be damn busy there. Yeah. But I'm going away for a couple of days during that week as well.
Yeah. So I dare say you'll be doing fun Christmas things anyway. No time for podcasts. Surely you'll be talking to your nan. You'll be listening to your grandpa's war stories.
That's if I see her. What grandpa? I don't have any anymore.
I was just talking to the audience in general.
Gotcha.
And we'll be back with our Nintendo podcast on the 2nd of January.
Yeah, around that time.
Around that time. We're super busy, so we're going to...
We'll figure it out. It'll be that week, probably.
Yeah, it'll be that week. We'll aim for that Tuesday, though.
Yep.
All right, Bryce. Do we want to end with Nintendo Jukebox? The answer is yes. Yes, Drew.
Oh.
Let's end with Nintendo Jukebox.
Jukebox.
The Jukebox?
Jukebox.
Bryce, what song would you like on the Nintendo Jukebox this week?
What song do I want?
Well, it doesn't matter what you want because we've got Krail.
What an asshole. Not Krail.
Whoa.
Drew. You listen to this man. He gives me the option and he immediately takes it from me. I'm sorry, Krail. I love you.
I'm going to just take that bit out. It's like, Krail, you're like, what an arsehole, and I'll send it to him. Among the Trees. It's not an actual Nintendo song, but it's inspired by Breath of the Wild. I was about to say Link Between Worlds for some reason. It can be that too, why not? It's sort of an ambient sort of track, which obviously Breath of the Wild has a lot of ambient songs.
Yes.
So we'll leave you then, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Until then, catch you later.
Yeah, we'll crack open some beers and talk about non-Nintendo things.
I don't know what to talk about.
Nah, we'll just spoosh it until people love it.